Welcome to episode number 32 of the Society of Life podcast. Today's Conversations with Al, we're going to be discussing the structure to building a business, if you've ever wanted to build a business. This is my personal philosophy of how I've adapted and built my gym from 2014 to what it is now. This is my structure, my exact methods that I've used to build this thing up. So if you find some truth to it, you find maybe it resonates with you, please apply to your life or your business if you are trying to currently build one or you want to build one in the future. This is just a great stepping stone for just identifying what it is that you need to be doing. So I'm just going to list out these 5 key points to building your business. Building your business and starting your business. Now it's going to be your job to maintain it and continue to make it flourish. These are just 5 steps that you need to actually get started doing it, and then continuing to build upon it, and building compounds, or think of compound interest. So continue to build upon that sense. So, structuring of any business. Now I'm going to also use my gym as an example. So I'll continue to as I go through each step, it will be explaining the process of why I did this, how I did that, and then the next step. So I'm just going to use my gym as that real life scenario for it. Okay, now first thing I want you guys to start out with is you're going to need, this is the 5 phases to any business. The first step is going to be your value creation. Now once again, this is all terminology that I've kind of pulled, that I really liked, that really resonated with me, that I have applied personally to my business, which is it's working right now. So first phase of this is going to be your value creation. And what your value creation is your vision plus your product. So the vision, you want to start with that first. My vision was that I wanted to have a gym in 2014. It wasn't clear at that point. I had to actually kind of refine it as I owned the gym. So about 2016 is when the vision became actually more clear to me about the gym itself. So I always knew prior to I did want a gym. So the vision is the gym. That's what it is. The product is going to be what you're delivering within the gym. So once again, this is all my kind of experiences, and this is the gym is the personal example. So the product is the coaching. It's going to be what's out on the floor, because that's what drives the gym is the coaching. It's not the supplements, it's not the apparel, it's none of that other stuff. That's just all stuff that can be added in, but the main product is your coaching. So the coaching, the workouts, anything that's deliverable on the workout floor, that's the product. Now with the product, you want to constantly be refining it. So it's going to always change. Who knows what CrossFit's going to be at in 3 more years. We saw where it was at 2014, where it's kind of gone up. This is my personal opinion. Plateauing could potentially go down. So what are you going to do to pivot and make a different product, make it more enjoyable for your people? So that goes hand in hand, and that's your value creation. That's phase number 1. Phase number 2 is your value delivery, and that is going to be your operations. So how do you run an effective group class, or how do you run an effective personal coaching session? Case in point, you could just start with personal training as they would do at some of the other bigger box gyms, meaning like 24 Hour Fitness, EOS. But what could you do to take it one step further and make it better? So what we've done is we've adapted a personal coaching model. So it's personal training, but a more in-depth approach to the personal coaching or personal training sessions, with encompassing group fitness classes and personal training sessions and your personal nutrition. So that's one different area. So what's the operation for that? Like what's the procedures for it? What does the coach need to do? That kind of stuff. How do you run an effective group class? So we've changed our flows of group classes over the years. It could be starting at the whiteboard and going over the workout, or it could be starting yourself on a group warm-up. There's studies that say people think clearer, or they think better, or they're able to remember things if they're already kind of get the blood flowing. Then the brain is able to remember what the workout is in this scenario. So we played around with, do we want to do this or do we want to do that? So option A would be meeting at the TVs, option B would be starting in a warm-up. Playing around with the group classes, what is the procedure for it? So these operations, for the most part, stay the same, but some of them we try to evolve and make better. The other one would be, what's your operation for whenever someone walks in through the door? So operations, what's a point of sale system look like? All that kind of stuff. 3, and this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one for me. This is the hardest one for most CrossFit gym owners that I've seen. A lot of people struggle with this, is the marketing. And what marketing people automatically associate with CrossFit gyms is they need to advertise and pay for advertising, which I believe and I don't believe that to be true, because you're almost building a culture of people, and if you try to have an influx of people too soon, your impact on the community and the culture might be a little bit harder versus actually growing it organically. Now, if you're trying to sell shoes, or if you're trying to sell something that's tangible, like you can pick it up and throw it or smell it, maybe add a little bit more advertising in there. But when it's dealing with people, almost at a communication level, it's a little bit harder, in my opinion, to do some form of paid advertising with it. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe we just didn't find that perfect form of paid advertising for it, but what has worked for me is the organic growth. Now, we'll do different forms of advertising, but we'll keep it very, like, there's no money into it. It's maybe like email campaigns or something like that, that we've just used different kind of words or pictures, but there's no paid behind it. There's a lot that goes into this marketing thing. Marketing is going to be almost like think of your 5% of the business. So if the business is 100%, 95% of it is going to be all this other stuff I'm talking about. Marketing is like maybe the 5%. So it's the attention to the details. That's like your branding. That's part of marketing. So one thing that I go crazy about is if the kettlebells aren't straight versus all scattered and thrown around. Another one is it looks like people try building pyramids out of dumbbells on the racks. That drives me crazy. So the attention to details, that's part of marketing. The medicine balls. I try hard. Medicine ball labels facing forward. I like to see the numbers. I like everything clean and organized. The gym's clean. Is it structured? Is it laid out perfectly? Now there are faults in my gym. There are faults in everyone else's. I'm a perfectionist, unfortunately. But that's part of marketing, is the branding. 5%, the attention to detail, that kind of stuff. What else is included in that is your social media. And it doesn't need to be paid advertising, but what kind of social media presence do you have? I'm not a social media pro by any means, but social media needs to be a part of it for this kind of day and age. I do think people need to see what it is that they're kind of putting out. Content, what kind of YouTube videos, what kind of podcasts are you putting out? Does it kind of streamline that kind of stuff? So marketing is a big thing. It's not just advertising. Advertising, like I said, can be included in it, but I don't actually have too much attention right now on advertising. And if I were to go down that road, I personally would hire for it because I'm not good at it. Fourth thing on this phase is your sales. This is another tricky subject, is because people think that whenever it comes to sales, it's like selling like used cars or just car salesmen in general. So it's harder with sales, but what I have found that works best is what kind of a impact or an influence can you make on that individual as they come into the door. And it's not in a condescending way at all, but what kind of a positive impact can you make on that individual? How is it that what you have, what your product is, how can you almost, and like I said, this isn't condescending, we're not influencing them in a bad way, which people do, but how do you influence them in a positive manner? That's how the sales process works, at least for me, and how I teach to the coaches here, is we want them to believe that will work for them. And it's almost kind of like a law of attraction thing. It's once you believe it and see it in your mind, you're rewiring yourself to do it, and then you have your process of, oh, I can actually see this, great, let's do it, let's sign up, that kind of thing. It's not making false big promises, that kind of thing. So I believe that there needs to be some sort of a positive influence for sales of a passion And if you're just naturally passionate about it, it's going to be a little easier. But I also do think depending on the leadership qualities of the individual selling might have an influence on the person as well. So those are just my 2 cents on it. And then the last part of this, which a lot of CrossFit gyms I know struggle with this, is finances. So obviously you want to get to a business where it's cash flowing, but you have your metrics, and then I put scale next to it. Now, not a lot of gyms or not a lot of people have a vision to scale. I personally, for this particular business, do not. So if there was going to be scale from it, I would hire someone to bring that scale up. But every part of the business, and I wasn't perfect at this, and I'm still not, I'm getting better at it, but every business needs to know the metrics, to know the finances, because if you don't even know where your gym is at, or business is at number-wise, how the hell are you going to make any progress or know you're going to be in business or not? So what I've done, when I struggled with this, wasn't even up until about 2016 until I actually started identifying numbers correctly. So it's almost like you got to look at it. Most people fear looking at their bank accounts for what their business is doing. You gotta have to project out. Well, you should know what the gym should be, or your business should be making that month projected wise, and then you can kind of do the math, figuring out what can you making, what not, expenses, fixed costs, all that kind of stuff. But that's part of your metrics. That's almost a weekly, if not daily, thing you need to do. It's not just a one-time a month thing. Just look at your P&L, make sure everything's going okay. But you could do, and I've heard people do it, and it sounds great. It sounds like they're working it, but maybe they also have, and what they're not saying is somebody else is obviously looking at this, because you can't just run a business in the back of your mind thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay, which it is gonna be okay, hopefully, but you probably should keep an eye on it too. So, but just keep good faith on it too. So, and scale meaning you want to go up or grow. Upscaling. So like I said, my vision kind of holds it at a little bit there, and if you wanted to upscale, I would hire someone for it at that point. I want the vision or the scale. I would just delegate that out. That's something that I don't think interests me at that time, or at this time. One key point that I wanted to bring up, and this is a fault that I think, I don't know about most business owners, but I know for sure CrossFit gym owners, from the few that I've interviewed, is delegate what you do not like or you're not good at. So CrossFit always has that notion of work on your weaknesses. So everyone thinks that they need to work on their weaknesses. Well, that notion, because it's always kind of ingrained in them, they probably think about it subconsciously, and okay, well, I know that I struggle with finances, for instance, but I'm still going to take the time to actually get better at it. Well, at that point, you're forcing yourself to do it, and how likely are you to actually do that? You probably should delegate it. And so most CrossFit gym owners struggle with delegation. You need to delegate what you're not good at or what you don't like. Essentially, you want to fire yourself from a position. Get someone that's better at it than you. You're not going to be good at everything. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't try to get better at your finances, because you definitely should. But first, if you can afford it, and if you think the business can handle it, you should probably hire someone that's better at it than you, like your bookkeeping. Most people I know, I'm not good at it. I hired a bookkeeper. Most people don't really know how to do it, but if you really love that kind of stuff and geek out about it, but you don't love doing programming, for instance, hire someone for programming. And it frees up so much time and alleviates a lot of stress too. So, delegate what you don't like or you're not good at. I hope a lot of this made sense. I know I kind of ran through it quickly, but this is my 5 phases within a business that work. Now, I'm also currently testing this model out with my podcast platform, and then I'm going to test it out with an additional thing that I plan on doing off to the side. So this is what has worked for the gym. Then what you want to do is just continue to refine it and tweak, and you want to continue to grow from there. You don't just want to stay content at one thing. It's going to get boring. A lot of burnout happens from that point. So you want to continue to grow. So like I said, and I know this about myself, if we wanted to grow up, I would hire somebody. Delegation. It's okay to let go and surrender. A lot of people have trouble with that word surrender, like me. So now I'm trying to be more vocal about it. Surrender. Thank you guys for listening. This is episode number 34 of the Society Life Podcast.